Are we on YouTube as well?
We are on YouTube. Hello and welcome, everybody. It is episode 4 of season 3 of Radio Reflex. As always, it is me, Ian, my co-host, Alan. How are you going?
I'm all right. But we'll get into the real meat of how we went in the weekend soon enough. For those of you that weren't there, you'll figure out if me and Ian are in tears after Halloween Havoc, or we're happy-go-lucky and in a fantastic place. Although usually with us, it's a mixture of all these things. So we will see. We will see how we go.
Yeah, good housekeeping. We first things first. As you guys might notice, I'm a little bit cleaner shaven than normal. That's because here in New Zealand we are in Movember, which is Men's Health Month, and basically I am doing the Movember campaign where basically I'm growing a mustache for Movember and helping raise funds for men's health, especially prostate health, but also mental health and suicide prevention. So that's I am doing my bit to help out. I have put a link to my Movember page if you would like to donate to a very good cause. That'd be you'd be more than welcome. So as the next few episodes go on, I'm gonna have decreasing or increasing shady mustache for the month or so.
It's going to be enjoyable to see how your mo develops. Obviously, I mean, I did get a beard trim for nationals, so I could look presentable.
Right.
For when Like Butter Media took some photos, but at this time I am all beard, and I don't know about you, Ian, but I don't think your beard shows any white. Whereas mine looks quite advanced.
It was getting a bit in there. This year has aged me. Quite a bit, to be fair.
Aged you, I think aged many of us.
Yeah. As they say, 2020 has been the longest 4 years of my life. So what else do we have for good housekeeping there?
Okay, well, I think I say this every time. I say, we're quite light on housekeeping, and then we go for like 20 minutes or more on housekeeping. Probably as first thing is two linked announcements. One is just to hype everybody for the upcoming Blitz event at Mighty Ape on November 21st. From what I understand, well, first of all, if you don't know, Mighty Ape up in Silverdale are running their kind of replacement event for the Road to Nationals. They had to cancel their Road to Nationals due to COVID. So they are running a replacement one. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you qualifications to Nationals for next year, but there is a bunch of good prizes, including the tunic, Fendel's spring tunic playmats. There's obviously a black envelope up for grabs as well, and a bunch of other prizes, cool. Including, I think, the first people, the first, something is like 24 players registered, get a cold foil potion.
Yes, although in saying that, I believe that has already been surpassed. I believe they already have had more than 24 people pre-register. So so good, well done to the ones who did pre-register. There's still a lot to play for to come along. So definitely get amongst it, and we'll both be there. Although I think you're judging, are you, Alan, or are you?
Well, here comes to the announcement. Of course, you will be playing, Ian, but we have got the go-ahead from Mighty Ape for Radio Reflex. And by that I mean me, and when Ian can help out, we'll be doing coverage for the
event. Excellent.
We're pretty excited.
Also, just as exciting as that, it happens to be on the 21st of November, which is my birthday. Just saying.
Got to that already. Don't we hear that every week? every week on the podcast coming up. But yes, Ian's birthday. So I mean, that means there'll have to be some cake. Not that you can eat much of it, Ian, but
No,
everyone else can
no,
have cake.
exactly, right?
I'm sure we'll sort out. But yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to do some coverage. At this point, we're definitely arranging text and some photo coverage. But I am in the
Yeah.
process of sorting out being able to stream matches. It's still in the works, and I still need to sort out with my opposite number at Mighty Ape, David Gregg. But yeah, we believe we should be able to stream matches. We have some space. We're going to set up. We've got some equipment to borrow, and at the minimum, we will be streaming games without any commentary. Once I know the kind of setup at Mighty Ape, hopefully we will be able to do it with commentary. So the possibility is that I'll be reaching out to some people. I already know there's one Australian out there that would be dying to jump on for coverage, and we'd be happy to have him. So we'll see like that. But yeah, at the moment we're still just working through. But I believe it's going to be a great opportunity to stream Blitz events, because this is going to be one of probably like the last major Blitz event in New Zealand for 2020.
Yes. Although talking about other events that are coming up before the end of 2020, just like to bring up that Dice Jar Games is also having on the weekend of the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 4th, 5th, 6th of December. I'm not. I'll get the dates locked down for next episode, but they're running a winner case Arcane Rising event down there in Dunedin, and so I think there are a few people who are already keen to get along to that, and obviously with the way that the price of first edition boxes have gone up, it's quite a nice prize, and I believe the winner case will be a classic constructed event, and I believe they're doing a winner box either the Friday or the Sunday, and that will be Blitz format. So, and so a chance to play a bit of both, which is always fun.
Yeah, no, Dunedin crowd, Greg at Dice Jar is a fantastic host. I won't be able to make it down, unfortunately, due to another major event in my life, the 24-hour film marathon, because originally I was keen to come down, but no doubt there'll be a bunch of players heading down there, and yeah, the Dunedin guys will turn it on as they usually do. So I am actually a bit upset I'll be missing this one, but maybe you and I, Ian, should talk about the official Radio Reflex Christmas party. And by talk about it, I mean I've just decided that we should do it now. So let's type it up on the podcast before we even have a plan.
I was about to say, fill me in.
Fill me in. Well, I don't know. I thought we could riff off it, but let's say to the people out there, because I mean we should have something pre-Christmas. No doubt. Everyone gets to the December season, and that's pretty much the office party season. Depending on how your office is structured. So yeah, maybe we need to have at least some kind of Christmas party somewhere for Radio Reflex. I think just before Christmas.
I think that's a good idea. I think we probably need a little bit more organization other than just riffing off the top of our heads here. But yeah, I definitely think that's something we can talk about in the upcoming weeks. That would be very cool.
Well, my only problem is I know if we were in Wellington, I'd be like, let's have it at Choice Bros. Braden, our brewer down in Wellington, unfortunately, he doesn't. I don't think Choice Bros has an Auckland branch, which I'll talk to Braden about. He should get an Auckland branch built up here, because that's definitely where I'd have it. So I think at the very minimum, Ian, we should have at least maybe a bit of beer and some cards somewhere. So putting it out there, people.
We'll work something out for sure.
Yeah, everybody, clear your whole December schedule. We're coming through.
So with that, I guess the only other thing, do we want to talk about the big upcoming event that got announced this?
Yes, well, that's the whole section in itself. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Calling 2021, essentially. And being me, I know all the details since I spent a lot of time organizing the details along with members from a team, from James, Chris, Sasha, all helping me with the organization of this. But yeah, it is time for the Calling 2021. And if you are listening to this or watching this internationally, yep, so sorry. we will be doing stuff for you if you're in the States, if you're in Australia. We will be doing stuff as soon as we can in 2021. I should say as soon as it's safe to do things in 2021. So at the moment, being a New Zealander for once is not a liability. You get a calling. The calling is going to be Auckland Anniversary Weekend. This one we are teaming with Card Merchant.
So for those who don't know what date Auckland Anniversary Weekend is, because not everyone lives in Auckland, it is the last weekend of January.
True, although I do know a number of other territories around New Zealand also have the same anniversary day, so you might be one of those. I mean, obviously, like Wellington, or Wellington, Auckland, Christchurch all have their own separate ones. But yeah, for a lot of places around, number of places around New Zealand and obviously Auckland, it's a long weekend. So yeah, the event's kicking off at Card Merchant West City. On the Friday night, we have a Battle Hardened event, and it's going to be a first of its kind. It's going to be team sealed event, which means cool. you have three. Well, we haven't done any team events really, but it's something at LSS that we've been really keen to do at some point.
Yes, we've been talking about it for a while, and we've it's gone through a number of iterations on how it will actually be done, and we did do a test run at Blitzathon.
Yes, they did. So the format ekes out is that you have your player A, B, and C, three men to a team. You get given a number of boosters. So the boosters are from all the current sets that are available. So that's depending on where you live in the world, but it's 6 boosters of Welcome to Wraith, 6 of Arcane Rising, and 6 of Crucible. So in a way, this is like your only chance to play Crucible in a limited format.
A sealed format, yeah.
Yeah, so you build 3 decks from that. Obviously, if you've got, you can play any of the normal heroes that are at token rarity. If you want to play a Crucible young hero, then you have to actually pull it in your pool. And basically, anything that's not of a token rarity, you have to assign it to a deck. So easily you'll have hopefully 3 different archetypes, 3 different characters, heroes on your table. You play the other team. They're doing the same thing, and essentially what it comes down to is whichever team hits 2 wins to win the match. Or I should say, maybe technically, just as long as you have more wins than the other team.
Yes. Yeah. So technically, you could win with 1. You can technically win with 1 win and two others going to time. Correct.
Yeah. That's exactly it, because the team that has more wins over draws or losses is there. Oh, Nick. Start swimming. I'd love to see you, Nick. I'll hide you. I'll hide you at my house.
Well, we've given you the date, so if you need to get over here 2 weeks before the date, you know what the date is. So we'll see you mid-January.
No, I'll just hide Nick from Jacinda. He can hide. I'll find out. He can live in our basement, hiding from the COVID. That would be super cool to have. Well, it would be super cool to have any Australians. So hopefully, fingers crossed, some of these travel bubbles will definitely happen in time for that. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. So yeah, as I said, Friday of a team sealed. The other feature of that team sealed, well, of course, me and Ian will be there, and we'll have to bring on our
secret third member.
Yeah, we have to call ourselves. We call ourselves New World Order.
No, the outside.
NWO, or we're the outsiders waiting for the third man.
Yeah, that's right.
Who that third man will be? Who knows? I mean, actually, who knows? I'm not very sure. I think Ian's already got the list of. Ian's been putting some serious thought into the candidacy for this. So, and I think we need to trot out mystery partner after mystery partner, Ian. That's what we need to do. Surprise witness after surprise witness. Getting back to the point, was that one of the teams there, of course, will be possibly the the ultimate fab team. It will be a team made up of James White, Chris Gearing, and Jason Chung. So basically, you'll have the opportunity to play the whole development team, which is quite exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing those three guys build a deck between each other.
Well, that's the key point, right? Very good players, very dominant person, two very dominant personalities, and one person who's just gonna not want to get into it and just take what he's given. So it'll be interesting to see how that team. Again, we know that they can play the game very well, but can they coexist when they're fighting over cards?
Yeah, well, to be fair, my idea, well, what happened is Jason will sit down, crack the packs. Jason will build the decks, and then it's going to be James and Jason just squabbling over decks, whereas Chris will just take whatever he's given, which will probably be Guardian.
Exactly. Well, who knows what he gets. That's going to come down to the luck of the packs, but yes, that's how I see it going down as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a great night. Ian, we are also chatting to the creative team today, and we're hoping the creative team can put up a roster. Right. But we won't confirm anything because that's up to them. That's up to their decision if they want to play. But we're very much hoping a number of members of the creative team. I mean, certainly Nikki and MJ seem keen. We'll have to decide on a third member. So that'll be exciting. But yeah, so that's going to be starting.
We did pitch them a very interesting third member that would today. That would be cool if that comes to be. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, sorry, that's actually something we'll mention a little bit later. We should have a guest star for next week's podcast, but we will take that to the end of the episode to make sure you're all listening.
Sure.
As to who's new the next week's one is. But so that's 4 p.m. start on the Friday. Then on the Saturday, because this is a full weekend.
Brett's got a pro tip for any budding teams out there. Build decks before you decide who's playing what. Very good. That's solid, but that comes down to how cooperative your team is.
Yeah, I definitely think in the sealed format, having just because I know what it's like, I've built a lot of sealed decks and also done for other games, that I feel like it's very important to have somebody in your team that is competent in the deck building, because I feel like it's much better just to get one person to build the decks and then maybe get some people to throw in their opinions. It's just, I can imagine seeing 3 people trying to build 3 decks. It's just not going to work out so well. So I think that could be a key strategy. You need to have that strong captain, and they need to be the best deck builder. Even if they're not the best player, they need to be the best deck builder in your team. I think that would be some strong advice, because you only have so much time to build your deck as well.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's not just building a deck; it's building 3 decks. So you have to commit equal time to all 3 decks. Yes. So that's the Friday. Then on the Saturday there's a PTI, and that's
PTIQ. We should call it PTIQ. Professional Tournament Invite Qualifier. So the format for that is going to be Arcane Rising Sealed with a top 8 Arcane Rising draft. So this is something we've definitely wanted to do, is to give Arcane Rising its kind of time in the sun, and hopefully this event will give it a bit of that, because Arcane Rising never really got a limited season. Like Welcome to Wraith got a number of callings, or 4 callings in total. But Arcane Rising kind of missed that boat. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, and it's quite a fun set to play in Sealed as well. So I look forward to it.
It would be very cool seeing the top 8 draft. And then and it's a good warm-up event. One of the things is, as we have like a bunch of different formats. Just because if you do all the same format, it can be a little bit stressful. Also, just like we have a sealed on Saturday, and of course the Sunday is constructed, so you get a bit of a variation. It means you don't have to build 2 constructed decks. Like if we did like Classic Constructed, and then Blitz. So the
Yeah.
Sunday obviously is the calling event. So this is this is the significant event of the weekend. The format, of course, is Blitz Constructed. It's going to be huge. It's going to be Blitz's big coming out for its first kind of like professional level event. And yeah, it's going to be crazy. I expect a big turnout. It's got $10,000 cash on the line. We have kind of published up the prize structure, so the prize structure is quite different, again, from the original callings and from nationals. So there is actually a prize payout down to 32nd place.
Nice.
And of course, top 8 still gets their gold cold foil drops, including first gets it's now legendary, the gold full art tunic, Fenville Spring tunic. But of course,
which let's just go on the record here, considering what's been happening on the internet. There is no amounts known of how many of those are out there. I've seen a lot of people talking like there's only 40 out there. That has never been stated by LSS that there was only 40. I believe a lot of that comes from people just doing the maths of how many have been given out at callings. But again, COVID has put pay to a lot of events that would have had more promo cards being given out at them. So just be aware that they are very rare, but there is no known amount of how many are out there. And if anyone is claiming that they know something, it's probably, unless it's James White or maybe Chris Gehring, pretty much no one other than those two actually knows how many are actually out in the wilderness, or how many are have been made to be given out. So yes, they are very rare. Yes, they are very nice, but yeah, don't buy into there's only 40 of them in the world.
No, all I will add, Ian, since you've eloquently done it as a non-LSS staff member, all I will add to that is the only certain thing we know is that 40 tunics were given out at calling events, because there was a top 8 for each calling, of which there were 5 callings. So the only number anyone can guarantee is that there were 40 given out at calling events. That's it.
Yeah. And that's where I think I don't even think it's. I don't think. Maybe some people have been trying to use that as a trading tool, but I think it's just been that sort of Chinese whispers type thing of someone has stated that it's 1 in 40 because that's how many have been given out, and then other people have taken that to be there are only 40, and then it's the he said she said thing, and that's where the sort of misinformation or confusion in the community, because again, we have a lot more people joining our community now than when the callings were happening. So this is all sort of people relaying the information that they'd heard months ago. So sometimes that information just gets skewed with the passing of the information through the internet.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things is also is people are just very enthusiastic at the moment, and one of the things, like whenever I get into a new hobby or something like that, obviously enthusiasm levels are high, and you want to find out as much as you can about the hobby, and be able to conjecture and talk. So I think that's an issue where it comes in. What we'd like to say is, any statement we put out on the website is the truth, and we stand by that. Anything else, unless it comes from us, is speculation. So but anyway, interesting times. I'm glad people are excited to see that there will be another tunic being given out. So it's certainly a massive prize for whoever is the blitziest of blitz on that day. One of the other cool things, a couple of things we're doing is obviously the event the Swiss has extra rounds. This is to
Being
help
a
just kind of
Swiss.
cut down on variance. So it means
Yeah.
you can take because Blitz is a fast best of one format, and we will put some more information out about this soon. One of the other big things we're doing for the top 8 is the top 8's actually double elimination, which is not something that is commonly used for tournaments these days, but we decided this would be a really good thing for the Blitz format. So again, I'm going to start be working on an article just to kind of explain it, but essentially it means that as you progress through the top 8, you get the chance to take a single loss. If you think there's both a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket. So if you lose your first round in the top 8, you're not out. You head into the loser's bracket, and you do get a chance to come through. If you just keep on winning, obviously you'll go through to the end of the winner's bracket. I won't explain it all here. Jason in depth, and I have diagrams and little stuff to show. But yeah, we'll get something written up for that. But we just fear it's a good way, again, trying to cut down on variance for the format. So obviously, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're pretty confident this is going to be really good for the top 8.
All right, cool. Excellent. Well, I think that has covered that. Obviously, we will be covering more of that as we get closer to the event. So I think from there we should go into just talking about our big event that we had over the weekend just been. So of course, over the weekend just been, it was Halloween, and Radio Reflex put on its first Blitz event, Halloween Havoc. It was a great night. We got 24, was it 23, 24 players?
23 players. So yeah, great with the turnout. Actually, a bit less than some of the card merchant hobby leagues, armory leagues, armory events have been happening. But 23 people is a great turnout. Big thanks to the team at Card Merchant, Andy, who's one of the owners, Jared, who's the manager, and also Angus, who was helping run the event in the weekend. So yeah, we had a great turnout. You even managed to get a few coffees into people. I was very happy to see you serving coffee when I rocked up. Now I suppose we'll just I rocked up with my Kasai list, but I did make a few last minute changes. Unfortunately, due to laziness and a bunch of other things, I did not get round to turning it into Brett Rogers' list, which was my intent. So basically what I did is I scavenged up what cards I had at home because I'd actually taken my collection into work and forgotten to bring it back, and made some changes. Main changes was taking out the coaxes and bringing in some snatches. I did also bring in for some Scars for Scars, and basically took out the Nature's Path Pilgrimage as kind of like an underperforming card. Yeah. And through the tournament, the snatches were good. I mean, I wish I could have drawn them more often, but they certainly, snatches ask your opponent a question. Which, and Coaxer Commotion just doesn't ask the same question. People are way more willing to ignore Coax than Snatch.
Like the thing of you get a card, I get a card seems way better than just you get a card.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I was pretty happy. I was pretty happy with making those changes, but getting to the actual meat of what happened is that I did not have a good tournament. I actually went 1-4 at the event, and now I'm struggling to actually remember if that was actually, who did I get the win over? I can't remember off the top of my head, but actually I'm just going to look up my rounds here so I can actually remember how I actually went, since I think one of the things, unfortunately, I have like a bit of a haze after this poor performance. Okay, so first round I came up against a natural foe, Henry Moore. Henry was running Dash Aggro, and we traded a lot of blows, and then basically one turn he basically took it all, defended minimally, just used his armor, keeping a 4-card hand, and I think he had a card in the arsenal as well, and then basically he went off and went boost 3 times.
Oof.
And played the maximum velocity.
Yeah, we know what's coming after that.
Yeah, so the coming in for boosting 3 times. Also, because he had played a pedal to the metal, a red pedal, and I was only able to block it for 4. I think I let 1 damage through essentially. It was dominated. So that was it. That was game. But as I said to Henry, I wasn't even angry. I wasn't angry. It was a cool game, and like when he boosted 3 times into it, I was just like, cool. As I said. Then second round, who did I face? God. I came up against Timothy. Now I think I've totally forgotten. Timothy was on Brute, and he was on Reiner, and my deck actually just put a lot of pressure on him, and he was constantly on the back foot. So like my deck kind of worked, I don't know, perfectly for 1 round, and Tim just didn't have a chance to fight back. But then I was not successful in the next rounds. The next round I placed Jason Chung. And we'll be talking about Jason and his deck very shortly. He efficiently dispatched me. It might have been turn 2, maybe it was turn 3. It didn't take long, basically. I had plenty of time to look around the store and catch up on everyone else's game. The next round, I ended up playing against details here. This is cool because this is a person I hadn't played before, Jawei Sun, and he was running Ira, and it was a good game. But yeah, I really enjoyed the game actually. But
yeah, Jawei's
me. I can't beat
Jawei's
Ira.
Jawei's one of the new sort of new players who's been sort of showed up in the influx of the Takapuna influx of Hobby League. I've actually played him a few times now at over in Takapuna, and he's a very good player. I believe an ex-Yu-Gi-Oh player. And playing a strong Ira deck, and he's very calculating player. So I think which works well with playing Ira. So
yeah, no, he was really good. And I don't know, I just had a really good game. I had a really good game against him. He was quite worried that I was running a lot of defense reactions, like Steel Blade Shunts, so he didn't bring in the needle. He just ran with double Kodachis.
Which is fair enough against Warrior, I think.
I think it's fair. I think maybe if you're playing... I think if you're playing, like if you're used to playing Dorinthia decks and Blitz, that's probably a fair one. But like, he probably just expected the same out of me, even though I wasn't playing Dorinthia. But I mean, he still got the win, even while he played it. And just, I really appreciate playing new people. It's like always a great experience and he was a great opponent. Then in the final round, I played Jesse. From Like Butter Media. This is Aaron Newson's cohort team member. Significant other. These guys run a cool media, and obviously everyone knows them from nationals. So Jesse was on Runeblade, and I'm like, well, Jesse, this is it. If the loser here has to go home to their teammate and tell them how crappy they did. So there's this match has a lot riding on it. And
and probably more so than you realize, because I actually played Jesse the round before and had beaten him.
Yeah. Jesse just navigated the match just carefully, calmly. I tried to put as much pressure on him, but I didn't flap him at all. And basically, he was able to wait. He played a red Slogism, which I was like, what? Because, you expect blue Slogism as a pitch card.
Oh, no, red Slogism and coming off scary to whatever the chess piece is called. So is amazing.
Yeah, so he read Sloggers and into is it Arcanite
Ascendancy? Yep. So just coming in for 11 with Dominate.
Yeah, and also, of course, there was something like 8, because he had taken his time. He hadn't thrown away his rune chance, so he got to a point where he had like 8 rune chance to fire off, and yeah, that did me in. So I mean, good win to Jesse. I'll get you yet, Jesse. I'll get you. But good win to Jesse. Yeah, just it was it was yeah. Not only did he dominate the board, he dominated my heart. So yeah, although I actually mean that in kind of a bad way. That's fine. I'll get Jesse back. It's good to see Jesse because I don't think he was a card gamer at all
No, I
before
believe this is
Aaron
the
brought him
first.
on
No,
board,
I think this is the
and
first card game that he's played. Yeah.
to see him come along and and we veterans, I like to think that I have my moments, but Jesse's come a long way, and in a short time, and so I feel his win is justly deserved over scrubs like me. So yeah, congratulations to Jesse on that one. But your tournament was a bit better than mine.
Not much better. I went 2-3, but very close in all but bar one game, basically. So the first game I actually played Nishi, who we will talk about a bit more coming up. He was on Azalea, and he was the man that got Azalea into the top 8. It was a very good game.
Man.
Well,
spoilers.
I think anyone that's following us knows that there was an Azalea in the top 8. But yeah, it was a good game, and it came down to a 50-50 off Reckless Swing, basically. I believe I had him on 1. I had a Reckless Swing, but I think I had a potion and a 6 cost in my hand, and he was it that or was this the game that I had double Reckless Swing and 2 6s? So it was either I had 50-50 or I had double Reckless Swing and 2 6s. So I Reckless Swinged and he hit the other Reckless Swing and managed to survive. That happened to me sometime last week. It may have been in this game. That may have happened at Hobby League. I can't remember. But needless to say, I didn't get the win off the Reckless Swing, and he came back with like a 4 attack go wide turn to follow it up and just put me away, which is great. It's great to see Ranger. I mean, and that's the thing about Ranger is like a lot of people go, "Oh, Ranger's so bad." The thing about Ranger is it's never been terrible. Like Ranger has always been getting very close to winning games. And so it's not like it's terrible in a you take a deck and you have no chance of winning with it. It's always been it's competitive and it puts on pressure, but it tends to run out of gas. It's kind of been its MO, and so seeing Niche play, and I think Blitz more so than constructed, it has a bit more staying power in Blitz than it does in regular constructed. So then I went on to play Vincent, who a good friend of the show, and he is a hardcore Kano player. He's been playing Kano since Arcane Rising came out, and he has taken a lot of losses. He has taken a lot of losses with Kano. But really, Halloween Havoc was sort of the payoff for the hard work. I mean, I joked with Gary that had Gary started playing Kano when I told him to, he could be doing as good as Vincent now. But my game against Vincent was insane. It went 1.5 turns for me and 1 turn for him. That was the whole game. So I got the play. I had a pretty good opening hand, and so he started like I put down a red barraging beat down, and first play of the game. He decided that, all right, before the intimidate happens, I'm gonna burn through some cards, get some damage on. He managed to do about 8 damage and get rid of his whole hand. But I was looking at my hand, and with what I had, I was like, I can't throw anything out to block this damage because I think I can kill him if he has no cards. and what ended up happening is he did 8 damage to me. I then came in with like uh, Alpha Rampage, something else, and did 14. So he was on 1 because he had no cards. He had no cards. He was left on 1.
Dollar shorty and dollar short.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then he managed to do 8 to me, and then he drew up on his turn, and then in my next turn, I come in to attack. He goes off. He has enough with what I'm defending with. He has enough to do exact lethal to me, and I'm just sitting there going, had I blocked 1 arcane the turn before, I would have won the game on turn 2. So well played, and it was really nice to see Vincent really seeing the lines of Kano and showing just how explosive it can be. And I was playing 3 arcane barrier, and again, had I played 1 more, had I played 4, I did have 2 clues that I had discarded, so I could have stopped 1 more damage. So in hindsight, maybe moving forward, maybe I'll actually look at going to 4 arcane barrier for that matchup, just because the Kano Blitz deck is so fiery. I mean, there's no point in going to 4 Nullrune if you're not running blues in your deck, but if you are running blues, definitely 4 maybe the way to go. Like, I mean, if you're running like Ranger or like Dorinthia, where you're sort of heavy red line, there's no point in going from 3 to 4 because you're generally probably not going to have the cards to discard to pay for it. But in that brute deck, I have a fair amount of blue and a fair amount of yellow. So
I think the thing everybody has to consider, probably like there are 2 points you need to consider. Is 1, can you afford to throw away the wizard matchup? And maybe some decks are just going to be comfortable. And 2, you've got to remember, for every piece of Nullrune that comes in, yes, you might be absorbing damage, but how much damage are you giving away by not having your normal equipment loader? So it's really tough. And I think I think personally we need to hopefully take a lead for some of these top players, and hopefully we'll see some more tech evolve, because either people are going to figure out how to beat Kano, or they're going to join. They're going to become.
I think because I was playing. I think I'm still playing with. I think I'm still playing with my Gambler's Gloves in that matchup, and I think I can probably just go without it and up to the fourth piece of Nullrune there. But that's all stuff that you learn from playing. Then the following round, I played Ethan, who's another new player. He was on Brute, so it was a Brute mirror, and the only difference was he was playing Reiner. I was also playing Reiner, but he came in with the club, whereas I had the claws, and really just sort of showed him how powerful that Blood Rush Bellow claws turn can be, and I think he learned to appreciate the claws a little bit more after that game.
Never doubt the claw. Never doubt the claw.
Yeah. Then the following round after that, so I started 0-2, and then I was 1-2, and then the next round I played Jesse. As I was saying, again, a very good matchup. I had been playing Viserai on the Thursday at Hobby League though, so I kind of knew the matchup quite well, and I've played Aaron, which I believe with Jesse's deck in the past, so I kind of knew which style of Viserai he was playing. So I managed to hold on to my blocking equipment, and then just put so much pressure on his hand that he had, like, without giving him full turns to get like 3 cards. Like, I wasn't intimidating 2 or 3 cards. I was sort of intimidating 1 card, but doing enough that he then had to block with the other 2 cards, and so he never really had a lot he could set up with. So it never really got going. And then my last round, I actually played your first round opponent, Henry Moore, and again another very, very close game. Just came down to he was a little bit faster than I was in the end, and yeah, and so ended my day. I could have quite easily gone like for want of a couple of cards going or a couple of misplays, I could have easily gone 4-1, but I ended up 2-3, and yeah, it is what it is. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing Rhino, as I always do. But yeah, no, it was good. And then yeah, and then we got on to the top 8.
Yeah, so the top 8 for the event, and sorry, I'll just bring up my notes because now, just so you guys know, we did do a bit of a metagame breakdown. I think you published it, but I did actually make a mistake with the some of the numbers because I did get one deck confused. But yeah, just for the details, Ira, of the 23 players, Ira was the most played hero on the day. There were 5 Iras, followed by Bravo and Reiner on 3 players each. Then most of everybody else got at least 2 players, 2 Kanos, 2 Azaleas, 2 Dorinfias, 2 Viserai, 2 Dash, and of course 1 Kasai, which was me, and of course 1 Benji, which was Jordan. Jordan getting some play.
Oh really? Did Armel? Was Armel not there?
No, Armel didn't play. We didn't see Armel.
Right, yeah. Because I know I know he's been on Benji as well recently.
He has been on. I have played against Armel on Benji, so that was representative. So the top 8 ended up being, without giving any matches away, undefeated streak in the Swiss. That was Matt Rogers. Matt was on Ira. Followed by Kale on Ira, although you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell.
Although we do want to mention something about Matt's round 1 game that I promised that we would bring it up, and I'm not.
Oh, did you? I'll let you bring it up then.
As someone who's made a terrible mistake in deck building, this is the thing that we talked about, and I kind of want to bring it up because it goes to show that even the best players in the world, Matt Rogers can possibly the best player at the world at the moment. Yeah, he made a classic Blitz blunder of going, yeah, this card's just super good in an Ira deck. So yeah. My secret tick is I'm going to play McGinty's Release. The reason it's super good in an Ira deck is that you're not allowed to play it because it is a Kano. Sorry, Katsu specialization. So he ended up having to play. That first round with replacement cracked baubles in his deck, and then but because this wasn't a high level play, he was allowed to change those cards out at the end of round 1.
He did receive a penalty. It was Matt was fairly embarrassed on this because I think they've been playing that for a little while, and it's the first time Matt actually called the again. This himself.
This is the thing that happened to me with my KO deck. That I had played countless games with KO with Sand Sketch plans in the deck, and I'd even shown the deck to James White, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this looks good." And so it is very easy, especially on the non-attack specializations, for you just to slip by.
Yeah.
So again, if you are looking at one of the young heroes that isn't one of the main Wraith or Arcane Rising characters, just remember double check those specialization cards.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
so Matt was undefeated. Kale on Ira. The reason I say it was hard to tell if it was Ira because he had Ira and then cut the picture out of Ira and put young Bravo in the picture. So if you looked at the picture only, you'd be like, he's on Bravo, but it was in fact Ira because if you weren't aware, Ian did put out the challenge of like altered heroes, and a number of people did that to various extents, like the top-hatted and mustache Bravo from Jacob. Manu won with his Soul Calibur
His Nightmare Viserai deck, yeah, that was
Yeah,
very
that
cool
was
because
that was very cool.
he did not just the character, he also did all the armor with the Nightmare Blade and everything, which was very cool.
Yeah. So third place came Jacob, once again on Bravo. Then came Newson. Love Newson. He played Ira, and I promised we won't be covering Newson's deck today because, again, didn't get time to do graphics for all 8 decks. But shout out to Jared Fung that Newson has credited as the designer for his deck, which took Newson to 4-1, putting him in 4th place after the Swiss round. So maybe I will need to get Newson's list and get that up at some point. 5th place came Jason Chung, the developer on Kano. Obviously, everyone knows Jason is the Kano master. Then followed by Sam Payne on Bravo. Vincent, of course, made his top 8 there in 7th place with Kano. And we'll get to 8th place shortly, whose deck I did do a graphic for, was Nishi. He top 8'd with Azalea. So we'll get to the final results, but shall we start looking at these decks then?
Sure, yeah. Let's start with that. I think let's start with the Azalea deck because I think a lot of people were surprised to hear Azalea deck making the top 8. So I think there's probably a lot of interest in seeing that. So if you want to pop that one up,
it's ready.
All right. Okay.
You just bring it up. So you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so this is Nishi's Azalea Blitz deck from the event. Now, I'm not the Ranger Master, but if you're looking at this, you'll notice something. Well, there's 2 things to notice. One, Nishi just hasn't worried about having an extensive kit of equipment.
And that's fairly standard with Ranger players. I mean, because you've got like 3 arcane barrier built in with the cross wrap and the bullseye braces. The tunic is very good if you've got it. Also, if you don't have a tunic, the Vest of the First Fist is a good replacement in this as well. And of course, Snapdragon Scale is very, very versatile in this deck, where you really do need to go again to get another attack in, because having to set up your arsenal to fire is a little bit difficult. So giving an arrow go again is pretty poignant to do. Yeah. So again, let's have a look at very, very heavy red line, which is to be expected in
it's running essentially the smallest number of yellow cards. It's only running 8 yellow cards, and it is running exactly. This is where I feel like Nishi's just got it. He's running exactly 1 blue card, which is Knock the Death Whistle. I mean, there is no fat on this deck. This is the Weight Watchers deck. This is like the Dolph Lundgren, I feel. Not the Schwarzenegger. He was too puffy. Dolph Lundgren. He was the action man. This is the Dolph Lundgren of Blitz decks, basically. It is mean, lean, with nowhere to go.
Yeah. And again, really just looking to take full advantage of. So as you can see there, he's got red Nimbalism, he's got Plunder Run, he's got the Take Aims, and I believe also the Come to Fights there as well, which are all great buffs to get his arrows going. But one of the key points in his deck as well is that he is running both red and yellow Sikkim shots, because having that natural built-in go again is very important in this deck. Because on top of his arrows, he's also got like the 1E strike there. He's got Ravenous Rabble, which is a great card in a deck where you're running so heavy red. It generally means it's going to be coming in for 4 most turns with built-in go again, and then you can start with your arrows. And so quite often that is how his turn would start. Yeah, so
a couple other things to note is like there's only a few defense reactions in the deck. So you have the Ranger defense reaction, Take Cover, and red, but the only other one is no Sink Belows, because you don't really want to be swapping cards around. Just a fateful scene in red because 4 defense, but most importantly, you get that extra information.
You do get that opt, which is very important in an Azalea deck to have that set up. And of course, all the big arrows, the headshots, the remorseless Ridge Rider shot, which is so good in Ranger. Although, am I looking at this right? Was he not playing red in the Ledger?
There's no red in the Ledgers, so. Sorry, that's the other thing that I think is very cool about this deck, is because there are a bunch of Ranger cards that people don't, would be generally accepted as you don't do without. But there's like no red in the Ledger here, which I think is pretty significant. But no, he did not play red in the Ledger.
He also there's also no hamstring shot, no sleep dart, which is very surprising. Sleep dart is really quite a solid choice, but again, he has obviously found what works with him. He is playing both red and yellow Ridge Rider shot, which is really good. Like I really like I've seen people go, "Oh, Ridge Rider shot isn't very good," but the thing about Ridge Rider shot is you should never really be shooting Ridge Rider shot. You should always be using Ridge Rider shot to set up your look for Azalea to then hopefully Azalea into something better.
To dominate an arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I respect it because it's got a line that it wants to take. Now, unfortunately, Nishi didn't get past the quarterfinals.
Yeah, the interesting thing here also, he has the Coats of Commotion, which is actually fairly good because actually giving yourself a quicken token, often giving your opponent a quicken token isn't as nasty as some of the other things, but also just being able to have natural go, or some sort of go again in this deck seems very, very important to the base strategy.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Nishi didn't get past the quarterfinals. He met up against Matt with his Ira deck, and I did get to catch that, Matt.
I believe it was quite a close game. I believe Jason was at one point thought that Nishi may have actually been able to get past Matt, which is high praise indeed.
Yeah, I think so. And in the end, Matt was able to, the life totals were close, but Matt was able to basically grind Nishi out, and basically he came down to the last cards in this deck, unfortunately. So Matt was able to grind out a win with so this was pure aggro versus control, and I think Ira is probably the control deck at the moment. Totally. So what we have is we have the top 8 list. So maybe we should go to some of the other lists. So let's have a look at we'll look at the 2 semi-finalists, which of course were Kale and Kale and Matt. So Kale here played Ira, but a different version to Matt, and it'll become more obvious. But it's maybe
a bit more
aggressive.
Bit more mid-range, like I feel like a bit more mid-range here. Again, using that Soul Beat Strike, which is again quite an interesting card because a lot of people are like, oh, it's not great because it doesn't have natural go again. But like the thing about it is that because it's a hit trigger, it is asking questions of your opponent because sometimes you're like, oh man, do I really want to block that? But do I really want to give him go again and stuff like that? So it does make some decision making a little bit harder for your opponent. Again, and a little bit more defense in here. A couple of blue unmovables in there, as well as you see the blue flick flacks, the springboard somersaults, the red sink belows, the red flick flacks. So he's definitely still got some defensive control elements, but again, a little bit more aggression, as we said, with the likes of Command and Conquer, Torrent of Tempo, Flying Kick, Soul Beast Strikes, and that find the center is also very very good if you can get it off and get into that Zen state token.
Yeah, no, Find Center is pretty good. And you know what? Two of the big powerhouses of this deck is like that Command and Conquer, because like sending a Command and Conquer in with Ira's buff for the second attack is pretty
Yeah,
significant.
yeah.
And Flying Kick is just great. I mean, it is 2 cost, but the 7 power is just needs to be respected. And
Yeah. Even flying kick for 6 as your second attack with Ira, when the game's going late, it can be pretty key to swinging back a turn that you may have had to overcommit cards to blocking.
Yep, and the rest of the deck is just like I think this looks like the fairly standard Ira kit out. You've got 2 Kodachis and the Zephyr Needle. So the Zephyr Needle, probably one of your main pieces in the game, but you can swap it out for the other Kodachi if you think your opponent's on the control plan with and can pop the needle. But otherwise, yeah, four null runes and the standard kind of tunic, Breeze Rider boots, breaking scales, mask. So
Yeah.
it's fairly typical for what we see in Ira for this matchup. So that was Kale's version. So the next version I'll just bring up is we'll have a look at Matt. So Matt actually took a loss. Oh, that's Jacob. So Matt actually took a loss, and he did not make the finals in this match. He took a loss, and the loss was to Jason with Ninja. But yeah, this is Matt's version. So you'll see some of the key differences are like, no unmovables. He's running Razor Reflexes, where Kale wasn't. So he's got a little bit of extra surprise factor.
Also, there's drones of brutality for, and I'm guessing that's for the Ira mirror, because like that sort of control fatigue mirror can definitely be a thing. So having that reoccursion of the being able to block with the drones and then going back to the bottom of your deck just gives you a little bit more gas in those games that can get fatiguey.
Yeah, and otherwise, the other difference, of course, is he brings in the specialization that Ira can legally run, Whirling Mist Blossom, which I suppose is actually interesting. No other ones can run specializations except for Ira.
The interesting thing is, I wonder if that is in fact the slot that was McGinty's release initially. Because again, Whirling Mist Blossom is an interesting card. It's a card that asks questions of your opponent, doesn't necessarily outright attack, because it is a very low attack cost, but the hit trigger on it is pretty insane. So
the other thing is Matt's deck with having 2 Razor Reflexes can actually take advantage of it, whereas Kale's deck without having the. And one thing is I don't see a lot of ancestral empowerment. Neither of these decks have ancestral.
Neither of them. No.
So it doesn't have that pump. But otherwise, again, you can see what I was saying is that the equipment loadout for Ira decks seems pretty much fixed at the moment. Yeah. You've got the tunic, null runes, and the best that Ninja has to offer. So
it's interesting there. So he's got all 4 bits of null rune. I wonder if obviously, I'm guessing he would have played that against Jason, and obviously it wasn't enough to. And so I wonder if there is a case that in a deck like this that you may want to go down to 3 null runes and still have your Mask of Momentum or your Breaking Scales or something that is a little bit more of a threat in your equipment as opposed to being fully defensive.
Yeah, it's a hard call. I mean, I believe Matt was on 4 null runes against his match against Jason.
Yeah.
I didn't record that. Actually, I did record the finals on my phone. The video is still up on our Facebook page. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to put it on YouTube where it's in better definition. But yeah, it was kind of funny watching the match because there was like at least one turn where Jason's like, "I've got you dead." And then he was like, "Oh, maybe I don't have you dead." And the Matt's sitting there wondering, he's like, "Am I dead? Am I dead or not?" But yeah, it wasn't. So the Premier control deck at the moment wasn't enough to get through. So the finals ended up being Jacob, and I'll bring up his list. oops, sorry, I'll bring up his list now. Was Jacob versus Jason. So let's go to Jacob's list. Now, Jacob's list might be familiar if you saw the Blitzathon that ran on LSS's birthday, the live stream. This is the same deck that he ran at that event.
Right.
So nothing has changed here. But Jacob's deck is, I think, like this is a slow deck. This is Bravo being the slowest and toughest. As you notice, this is the no red deck.
Yeah.
You're running
sigils and blessings and cripplings and disables. So it is very fatiguey defensive, lots of health gain, which again very very solid against a lot of matchups, and probably his worst matchup is probably Kano.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of matchups. Hopefully, you can just get out like a Towering Titan or Crippling Crush them. And I'm pretty sure there's games with this deck that you might actually be on a higher life total than you started the game. Because one of the key things, and I believe this is, I mean, maybe we'll have to get Jacob on to maybe explain the deck at some point to give us, is that you've got all the life gain. So you've got 2 red sigils at 6 life. You have red blessings. You have yellow blessings, and you have blue blessings. Yeah. You've got 1 tome, so there is a lot of life gain.
Yeah, totally, and it's very interesting. Again, for those who don't know, Matt and Jacob actually flat together, and I would imagine this very deck is the reason that Matt had Drone of Brutalities in his Ira deck. I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine they've played this matchup to death, and
no, definitely. So with this matchup, from what I understand, and not being an expert on it, but you bring in for the matchup against Kano, because you can deal with most of the aggro decks. You just grind them out, and you've always got last ditch efforts there as well. But against Kano, obviously bring in all the Null Rune, and then just basically you try and outlife the Kano decks. So I don't know if Jacob faced off Vincent in the Swiss, but obviously Jacob then went on to meet Jason in the finals. And basically, I'm pretty sure the game plan against Wizard is something that Matt and Jacob had worked on. But unfortunately, Jacob did gain a lot of life against Jason, but it just wasn't enough. So let's bring on Jason's deck. Jason was the winner here. Oops, there we go, and there we go. This is Kano. This is pure 100% Kano, as run by Jason Chung from LSS Studio. So Jason played this, and we the last couple of episodes we've been talking about our deep dives into the decks we've been playing, and obviously we haven't spent quite as much time on each of these decks. But I feel, I don't know about you, Ian, but I feel underprepared to be able to even comment on Jason's deck. I think Wizard is probably the class I have the least experience in.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, Ian, but this looks like something. I mean, Wizard players will hopefully respond to this, but if you haven't played Wizard, this may not make a lot of sense to you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of real tricky things in this deck. Like Gaze the Ages, we could talk about that card, the interactions with that card, just in itself. Like the thing that you can play that card, and then in response to playing that card, play another arcade card, which will then, when Gaze resolves, when Gaze jumps back to your hand because you've played another arcane card, and just things like that, and lots of maths and lots of knowing when and where to go off is interesting. I mean, I think that the interesting cards in here that some people may be wondering about, like the Tome of Fendels, aren't actually in the deck to gain you life. They're in the deck to draw cards, if I'm not mistaken. Because you you can play them off the top off a Kano banish, and you still get to draw the cards, but you don't get the life. If I remember that correctly.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it needs to be played from Arsenal. But yeah, Tome is nice if it does give you some life, but I think generally that's not going to happen. But yeah, things like also like there's some other cards like it only runs one Voltic Bolt, for example. It only runs one Blazing Ether. It doesn't.
Well, Blazing Aether is
some of these cards.
Blazing Aether is, and I think both Blazing Aether and Voltic Bolt are the reasons behind them is that you don't want to sort of hitting both Blazing Aethers in a hand is really terrible because it doesn't do anything on itself. And Voltic Bolt costs a bit more to play, so again, it's not. It's going to be very rare that you're going to be able to play multiple Voltic Bolts if you get them in the same hand. So there's that, and So it is a lot of knowing your lines, knowing the mass, knowing what does it. I think Tome of the Aetherwind is really a big key to this deck. Getting those extra draws, especially if you can get them for free off a Kano.
One of the insane things that happened in this matchup, and Jason will tell you it's not that insane because he's done it plenty of times, but it's the first time I've witnessed this. Basically, against Jacob, he was able to pass the turn with 8 cards in hand.
Okay,
so thanks to Tome.
Hang on, we have to go back. I was actually wondering if this was going to come up. We have to make an apology. So Nishi's like, I actually played 2 scars instead of 2 come to fights. So what happened there, Nishi, full disclosure, is that the photo that you sent us, the glare on the foils was quite harsh, and we weren't 100% sure if it was scar or come to fight. And I think Alan just went 50-50 on what he thought it was. So we apologize. So again, folks, it wasn't come to fight, it was scar for scar. And again, that just makes the ranger going wide a lot easier as well. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Nishi, sorry. Yeah, my apologies. I didn't get a chance to give you a message back, and I was so sure it looked like come to fight with the glare. But I'll fix that up before we post up this deck list because if anybody wants to copy your brilliance, they definitely need the right list. Although Nishi, if you're watching, what do you think? Could you run come to fight in this deck? Probably you just want the scars, but yeah. Let us know in the chat if you think my substitution could be good. So the other thing to say about Matt's deck, about Jason's deck, of course, is again, much like Nishi's, you'll just notice that he has the bare minimum. All the equipment he's chosen is just going to feed into his plan. Like there's no reason for Jason to change out any equipment in any matchup. And the thing is, I think if you have a look at all that equipment, I think one of the key ones is that talismanic lens.
Yeah. It's such a good card, and again, using it early is not a bad move in Wizard, because obviously you're on the clock with only 15 life, so you don't need to hold on to things. So if you think it's going to give you, if you don't know what you're looking at, or you think it's going to give you an advantage, popping it early is more than a valid play.
Yeah, well, one of the things is having a look through all the Wizard equipment, you basically just get one use out of all these, with the exception of Tunic. You get just like one use out of these.
Well, I mean, it's interesting though.
Throw them away.
Well, it's interesting though. Are you really getting much more than one use out of Tunic? To be fair, but
besides,
are you going to 6 turns with Kano? I'm like, I don't know if you are.
Maybe not. Maybe with Tunic, it's just well, essentially they can certainly go off before that gets to 3 counters. Maybe just the option if the game goes long, and 3 turns is long for For a
Well,
wizard, you need to have that one armor. You have that one armor. It's maybe
to be fair, I believe um, uh, Jason's has said in the past that quite often Chinook is just there to defend for one, and if he gets one resource out of it, that's a bonus. So
yeah.
So
otherwise, yeah, this is a pretty amazing deck. If you've never played Wizard before, I'm not sure if I should say, yeah, just go for it. See what it's like,
well, to be
or
fair,
stay far away, because
to be
you
fair,
are not.
I'm looking at it, and it's a very expensive deck. Yeah, you're looking obviously at an eye there,
Yeah,
some
that's true.
majestics and stuff like that.
I'm not sure what
it's
you'd
not a cheap.
substitute. Yeah, I'm not sure what you'd substitute for Eye as well, because the deck is pretty finely tuned. So
Yeah,
just throwing something random, like, you can't replace it with a heart, for example. That wouldn't. I mean, that would probably just be bad. I mean, it does give you one life in most situations, but the opt two on that just seems so important. So yeah, and I wouldn't mess with it.
I would imagine if you don't own a heart, you just want to put something else blue in there. And I would suggest, if you don't own a heart, probably a blue whisper is just as good, because it pitches for blue. It if you get it, you get opt off it if you KO it, and it does block for 3.
Yeah, no, it's it's cool. But yeah, so congratulations to Jason. He took home the Judge Playmat, Demonstratory Judge Playmat. The Fine Center match actually went to one of my opponents, Timothy Thompson. Ended up taking home the Fine Center Playmat. But yeah, overall it was a great day. The top 8 went really well. And also I was just very happy to see, maybe you've seen more of these people, just to see some of the new players that are rocking up to the Blitz events.
Yeah, it was great. It's great. I mean, it has really had an influx of players since nationals, even, which has been great to see. And I mean, more players, more people playing, more people looking at the cards and putting their own spin on it is nothing but good for the game.
Yeah. Shout out, though. I should, while we're celebrating Jason's win, we should shout out to the only person that took a match off Jason on Saturday. Regan was Jason's first opponent.
Yes.
And with Dorinthia took a match, left a stain on Jason's record for the day, and Regan just out aggroed him, which I think is what Jason tends to say, that
I think that is definitely the way. I don't think you're gonna, as Jacob found out, I don't think gaining life is a way to beat Kano. I think you really just need to kill. You need to kill Kano before he fries you. Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, then again, the problem is, playing Jason, on any deck is a tough thing. So not only are you facing the Wizard matchup, which is difficult, you're facing the Wizard matchup with Jason, and to be honest, that's a almost impossible call for me, and even for skilled players, as obviously we can see, it's Matt and Jacob took the losses to Jason. It's really hard to do. So yeah, so just think about it's not only the deck, it's also the player.
Yeah.
Now I think we've got some answers. Let's just flick back to Nishi's deck, because Nishi has just thank you for watching today, Nishi. Hopefully you continue to watch. But he has made some comments. I think it'd be good just to show. So yeah, he thinks so Come to Fight, not a good choice. But yeah, he's saying he would find one room for one remembrance. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I think Well, it depends. Yeah, obviously he got outground by Matt, so maybe he have a one remembrance and headshots for So well, there's obviously Nishi would probably run this back again. But yeah, he said maybe switching headshots for red and the ledgers. But if I was to build this list tomorrow, which I can't, but I might still build it anyway, is I personally have a policy of not changing other people's deck lists to begin with, because somebody has already done a lot of thought about a deck, and just changing it up is not a good idea. So yeah, I'd run the list as is and wait till you've had some play with it. But yeah, congrats to you, Nishi. May you forever be in the hall of Ranger fame. All right, well, we have got on now an hour and 20. I think we won't do a Kirk's Corner today, Ian, because I didn't think of the subject.
I've got a really quick subject that we can do. So
right, before we go to Kirk's Corner, though, before we go to Kirk's Corner, or as we go to Kirk's Corner, I will just announce, yes, we do have a guest for next week. For next Wednesday, we are just sorting out the details. Either he'll be remoting in with us, or we might be able to get him into the studio. We will have Sam Yang as our first guest of the season. If you don't know who Sam Yang is, then get out. I don't want you to be a fan of this podcast if you don't know who Sam Yang is. Sam, the first time I suppose I could say I met Sam through his artwork was on the phenomenal Blue Hijab from the Ira deck. Sam has gone on to do many pieces of art for Fab. Probably the most infamous of all is Dash.
No, that is not the most infamous of all.
Oh, come on, Dash.
The most infamous of all Sam Yang's artwork is, of course, he is the man that brought to life the cracked bauble.
You're just saying that you're just cozying up to that Wellington crowd that are totally addicted to cracked bauble. No, I still think Dash. Cracked bauble is certainly one of the most beloved of Sam's cards.
Yes. But, I mean, he's done some great artwork, of course. Talking about having just finished talking about Ranger, Remorseless was one of his pieces from the new set. But yeah, no, some great artwork, and we look forward to getting him on and having a chat about his creative process and about how he's found the world of Wraith. And and if you guys have got any questions for him, please feel free to hit us up with questions, because we would love to, get the community's questions answered as well. So with that being said, I've got a really quick Kurt's Corner for you, because I was thinking about this. With the announcement of Team Sealed coming up at the Calling 2021, bringing it back to wrestling as we are prone to do.
Yeah.
Favorite 3-man wrestling team?
Favorite 3-man wrestling team?
Yeah. 3-man wrestling team / faction.
I'm actually going to have to think hard on this, because obviously, 3-man tag teams is a thing. It's not a thing really in the WWE world, but like, for example, in Ring of Honor and New Japan.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, probably the most well-known 3-man tag team of the recent era is from the WWE, and of course that is the New Day. The New Day, of course. Also, you have the likes of the Riot Squad, a great three-woman team. The team that I thought that you would jump straight to, of course, is your favorite C-listers turned champions, 3MB. Of course,
3MB. Hey, it's just Heath Miller is the last one. Mr. Yeah, he's the last one to. He's the last one to get there, but I'm thinking. Hold on, I'm going to have to do some research, because I do have a couple. Yeah, as I could even go back to Demolition. Demolition were a trio for a long time. X Smash and sorry, remind me. X Smash and Crush. Were free. Well, the difference, the reason why I'm kind of dividing this is because, as I said, currently there is a proper 3-man tag team trio events, New Japan, Lucha Underground, whereas WWE doesn't have that, but you do have these teams of 3, which actually goes back to the original team, which is the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael Hayes, Ronnie Garvin. I can't remember the full original lineup, but Fabulous Freebirds were famous because they were a 3-man, and they came up the whole Freebird rule, where a tag
Yeah,
team can defend. It comes from them,
yeah,
um, uh, which is uh, which is pretty cool. And also, like they, as well as naming a whole wrestling convention, the Freebirds were the first to use rock music in their entrance.
yeah, yeah.
And I cannot
And
remember. Yeah.
and fun fact, connecting it into the passing of Sean Connery, the Freebirds were in the opening scene of the Highlander movie. Of course, the opening scene of the Highlander movie was at Madison Square Gardens in that infamous fight in the car park while the wrestling show was going on, and it was the Freebirds who were wrestling in that match. There
Ah,
you
see,
go.
I remember you telling me that, but I didn't know that for many years, and obviously a big Highlander fan. So yeah, I think my favorite trios, I suppose, like New Day and Demolition, and New Day are just beloved by all. But I'm going to get a little bit more underground. My other favorite trio was in fact from a fantastic show that ran 3 seasons. Well, it had its share of problems, but in general, it was pretty cool. Was Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
That was a combination of the El Rey Network and AAA Wrestling. They had trios, and my favorite trio from that was the combination of Angelico, who now wrestles for AEW, Ivelisse, who also wrestles for AEW, and Son of Havoc. And they were actually, one of my favorite trios. They were they were very cool. They were trio champions. Lucha Underground had like a really cool trios setup. Also,
yeah,
Lucha Underground was very cool because of a lot of people that competed on that have gone on to various other fame. Like one of their key guys, Prince Puma, was
yes.
actually
Ricochet.
Ricochet in a Lucha
Yeah.
Mask. Obviously, like Ray
Johnny
Phoenix and
Mundo.
Johnny Mundo as
Yeah.
um,
John
who else?
Morrison.
John Morrison. There's
Ray, I believe Ray
Ray.
Mysterio even wrestled
Yeah,
for
Chavo
Lucha Underground.
Guerrero came back as a badass sexy star until she got run out of the business for shooting on somebody. Who
Mm-hmm.
else was in it? It's so many people. And yeah, a lot of people went on to various other fame. But yeah, it was a cool show because Lucha Underground had like a really strong storyline, so they had a lot of movie segments in it. So that was really cool, and they filmed in a studio. The announcers were Matt Stryker and Vampiro,
Yeah.
which is kind of a mixed blessing. But yeah, no, it was a cool show. So, who was your favorite trio, Ian?
Well, they started as a trio. Then they had some other iterations, but actually, probably my favorite trio was the original Nation of Domination. Farouk,
Mm.
Savio Vega, and again Crush. But
He got
but
around.
he did get around.
Yeah.
He loved him some trios. But
Yeah.
no, I loved the original Nation of Domination. They used to come out with the sort of Islam feel to it, and they had the rappers that came down and they did the militant standing in the ring and
Yeah.
raising the fist and yeah, I just like back then they were great, and it's probably one of the Nation of Domination's theme songs is still to this day one of my favorite all-time theme songs. So,
Yeah.
I would have to go with them. Uh, Honorable mention to the original Undisputed era when it was before Roderick Strong joined them. They were a
Yeah.
great trio as well, and they did use the Freebird rule with the NXT Tag Championships. But yeah, no, and again, big fan of the Riot Squad.
Mm.
Underutilized, and Sarah Logan, of course, now no longer with the E, and Liv and Ruby sort of been in the mire that is the women's tag division.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they're underutilized.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
she
so
she was a
I
great
thought
girl.
that would be a nice little segue with of course the three-man champions. Of course, we didn't even mention the Outsiders and Hulk Hogan, the original uh,
Yeah.
NWO, which technically started as a trio and then sort of blew out pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, let's coming up with this with the calling event. I'm obviously Scott Hall.
Why,
You're
you're
Kevin
drunk.
Nash. Who is going to
Oh,
be our Hogan? Who is going to be
yeah.
our Hogan?
Who is the third member?
Yeah, we need to get T-shirts done. Yeah. And
Yeah,
if you'd like to
yeah.
be that third member, please send an email to info at radioreflex.net. We'll take just headshots, fine headshots, and just a quick application. It'll be cool. But yeah, no, we promise mystery after mystery as we
That's
get close
right.
to the event. It's definitely. I was looking forward to Christmas holidays. Now I'm looking forward to getting back from Christmas holidays, so we can do the calling. So it's just going to be. It's just so exciting. Nationals was so much fun. I can't wait to replicate it, but probably even on a bigger scale.
Yeah, I
More
mean,
players, more fun.
it just the upside of getting to sleep in your own bed at the end of each day.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I enjoyed my time with my fellow studio mates. I know Chris and Jason aren't listening at this point, but I enjoyed getting a little bit closer to them. I genuinely, I do like my workmates. So, yeah, complain as much as they like. I'm sure they have a soft spot for my room booking, and they won't let me do it again. All right,
All
we
right.
had that's the longest. I don't think this is the longest cut. Where did the time
Yeah,
go?
yeah,
Where did the
exactly.
time go?
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, wash your damn hands, and we'll see you next time.